Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
All right, everybody, welcome to another terrific edition of Freed on Business. I want to thank my good friend Brad Hunter for joining us today. He is the man when it comes to residential housing nationwide. We'll talk about the nation, and then we'll focus in on Florida. Make sure to stick with us. It's going to be a tremendous hour. Brad knows his stuff, and he will prove it. And, I want to thank everybody for hanging around this week. It's been a great week, and we look forward to creating some great content together with my good friend Brad. So without any further ado, we're going to take it away, and then we'll come right back with Brad Hunter, and we'll talk what the story is on the housing market here in Florida and the United States. Mr. Mendoza, take it away. Tell you, I love it, but it ain't ever as good as you get it at first sight. I love the little pastelitos you get up there. It's just tremendous. Hey, everybody, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. High five to Larry, Abe, and the rest of the team there. I love them. They treat my entire family like solid gold. They've got this great store up at 151st and Biscayne where they sell everything. They sell Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar. Got great service there. Thank you to Maytel Stark, my personal service advisor. You want an Audi? Well, they got those up in Gainesville. That Gainesville store is beautiful. My friends in Gainesville go there all the time. They're so thrilled they finally opened that up. They used to have to go to Jacksonville to get their Audi serviced on a Audi place. And then, of course, down in the Keys, they've got everything down there, including the fancy Jeep I think I'm going to get. What do all those cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry Advantage. The Warren Henry Advantage is a long list of things you get. It starts off with, of course, the complimentary loaner if you have to leave your car there. They'll guarantee that you get the best price on your loaner. You get the great price on the car. You've got 3 days to make sure you like your car. If you don't, you can return it. Nobody returns their car. They get a bunch of other great things too. But the number one thing you get is that you become a member of the Warren Henry family. And I just love that. I've been a member of the Warren Henry family since 25, 30 years at this point. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
It's time to stop the hate and spread some love. You are beautiful, you're smart, you are awesome, and you never have to change for anybody. You have the voice and you have the power. We are so much stronger when we come together. It's your choice, so choose to be inspired. Choose to be accepting, be strong, be brave, be awesome, be daring, be kind. Choose kindness.
Yeah, we choose kindness here on Freed on Business. That's a choice everybody can make, and that's what we choose. We also choose to be wide open and available to everybody. I had a client yesterday call me hair on fire. Hey, Jim, I need working capital. I want to secure it with an interest in my real estate. Pooh. Took me one phone call. We're all over it. $20 million working capital loan, too. I have another client calls me today. Jim, 1031 market's upside down. I need to find somebody that can buy my 1031 deals. Guess what? Yeah, again, one phone call. Both of those were families that are looking to build their real estate operating companies. I got a call from another real estate operating company. They're based in Latin America. They want to come here to the United States. They're asking me to help them find a lawyer, an accountant, help them match up with the right real estate operating companies as they learn the game down here. All the realtors were just pushing buy. I said, take your time and figure it out. That's right. It's the same for you. I'll take the same amount of time and the same focus. I'll bring my 40 years of experience to bear for you and all of my ability to bring the clients to the table. Why do I do that? It's simple. Whenever you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
I've been waiting for weeks to get this new guest on here. Oh my God, I'm so excited I can barely talk. Brad, where's Brad? Brad Hunter. Brad,
Hey,
I've known you since you didn't have gray hair when I met you.
well, no, that's for sure. Because I've known you for 30 years or something like that.
Oh my gosh. You've always been the expert that I've looked up to in this space. You've always known what's going on. I remember when you used to basically use aerials and send people out to make sure that they did the housing starts in the subdivisions. Oh yeah, you know your stuff. So Brad, why don't we start with telling a little bit about your background so people know where the information is coming from, and then let's talk about, what's for sale, where it's for sale, what's the demand, et cetera.
Sure. Yeah. So my company is Hunter Housing Economics. I've been doing real estate market studies, feasibility studies for 37 years now, from the standpoint of economics, demographics, local job growth by sector, all of that kind of thing. I've been doing that my whole career. So I spent most of my time in the state of Florida. I've been studying all the Florida markets for that entire time. And so, just from the standpoint of consulting for builders, developers, lenders, investors, and the investor component has just been growing and growing.
Well, I think that's something we'll talk about down the road, because that could be something I don't want to start talking about what my opinion is, but investor demand has certainly skewed the market here in Florida. So Brad, let's first start nationally. Why don't you take us in from 60,000 feet into ground zero here? I'm going to let you do it because you're real good at it.
Well, thanks. So let's start with the demand side. There is a tremendous amount of demand, even with the increase in mortgage rates and interest rates in general. And that's because household formation rates are up. What do I mean by that? That's just the number of households that are being formed. In other words, people moving out of their parents' house, moving out of a roommate situation, moving out of even people that are getting divorced. That turns one household into two. So those kinds of things are forming households. But the number one thing that's causing more households to form is that the millennials are finally 10 years late, but finally getting around to starting families of their own. And we're seeing a real surge in that. And that honestly is what's driving this whole movement towards the suburbs. We see it all around the country. People in the urban areas moving out of rental apartments, saying, I now need a house, especially if I have a baby on the way or a young toddler. I want to be in the suburbs where I have a yard and a place for that child to play, and maybe some other kids in the neighborhood for them to play with, and parks nearby, and maybe good schools nearby. All of those factors are coming into play in a big way right now. That was happening even before COVID, by the way. This isn't everybody's fleeing the cities because of COVID, and that's what caused this suburban shift. No, this shift has been going on for long before the pandemic occurred. So we have this squeeze happening because of higher mortgage rates, but I'll put some numbers on it. Household formation rates in this country back during the recession were 400, 500,000 at the bottom nationwide. Now it's around 1.6 million.
Wow.
Is it going to ease up a little? It might. I mean, we've got a lot of families being formed because of the millennials reaching that age and that stage of life. But even if it rolls back to 1.4 million or even 1.3 million household formations a year, that's enough to justify 1.7 million or maybe 1.8 million if you add in second home demand, because there's also replacement demand, obsolescence. Homes get knocked down, 300,000 a year typically. So you take let's say it's 1.1, 1.2 million at a low estimate for household formations, 1.2 plus 300,000. you're at 1.5. Then you add in second home demand, you're easily at 1.7 million. And we're not producing that many homes. We're not keeping up with that fundamental demand that's justified just by household formations.
Why is that? Is that because we don't have the infrastructure? Because they can't capitalize it? Because there's not enough raw lots? I mean, I'm financing blanks, quite honestly, in front of all the developers. I just did a deal on a farmer's, pasture.
Yeah, it's lot supplies. That's the number one constraint. And during the deep housing downturn, the housing spigot, got cut off because the lot supply got cut off. Builders found themselves with more lots than they wanted. One of the CEOs of the home building companies, I actually forget which one now, said that land is now a 4-letter word in more ways than one. So they didn't want land on their books. A lot of times the land had negative value. So they turned off the lot production machine. A lot of people that had been in the business of working on developing lots got out of that business and went into the oil business or something else. So,
you talk about land having a negative value and people really don't understand what that means. I'll give a really good example. It's not about lots. It's about an urban deal. I'm working on an urban deal right now that's in a CRA. If they allow the guy the year and a half to process it through the CRA and he gets the $8.5 million he needs to make his deal work at today's absorption and rental rates, he can do the deal. Yeah. He's offering to buy the land at $5 million. To me, that means the land is really worth negative $3.5 million.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had the math right.
That's absolutely it. And during the period of 2008, 2009, there was a lot of land that had a negative value. And then all of a sudden, around 2010, 2011, the market turned up again, slowly at first, and then it started to gain more speed in 2012, 2013, and then land prices started shooting up again. And at the same time, the production couldn't keep up. The land development machine was not able to turn back on quickly. So we've had lot shortages this entire period. And then that, of course, turned into housing shortages. And that's why we've had housing supply failing to keep up with demand ever since.
Yep. We're going to go to a break, but before we do that, I want to give just a little bit of a personal touch to this. So I was at a family event yesterday. All of the people that were in the 35 to 40 range had at least 2.5 kids, all young, all under 3. And there you go right there. And they don't know where to move. Well, they do because they know. But the reality is there's really not a lot of places. And one of my nephews just bought the last house in the subdivision in Dallas right before the pandemic. Boy, did that kid score. We're going to be right back with Brad. We're going to talk about what's hot and not in Florida. Stick with us. This is going to be tremendous. Make sure you watch this whole thing because I'm just getting started finding the acorns with Brad. Brad Hunter, Hunter Housing Economics, the expert for the last 40 years on Florida housing. More right after I sell a couple of cars for Warren Henry. Wow, it just tells you how far we've come when you take a look at MIA with those pictures. I want to, of course, thank my good friend Brad Hunter for joining us today. I'm going to ask some questions, but mostly Brad will free range. He's a genius on this stuff. He's been studying it for 40 plus years. Back when I was doing feasibility studies, we'd use his information as the lockdown truth. Hey, you know what else is the lockdown truth? My friends at Warren Henry. I want to thank Samantha Wolf for always being there for us when we have a marketing issue with them, when we have a marketing question with them. We never have an issue. We love them. Eric Day, they're guiding light there for us on ideas. Larry's just a great personal guy. What a beautiful family, man. That's another guy that's starting his family. He's got the 2 kids now. And of course, Abe Cohn, who is the Lamborghini dude. All of them. We love them all. Thank you all for supporting the show. And that's why we support them. I've got 2 Warren Henry cars. They just sent out the the notice that the QX60s are here. Well, guess what? I got mine 2.5, 3 months ago. I want to thank the folks at Warren Henry for making sure my wife got her car very early in the cycle. I love my wife, and boy, the people at Warren Henry do too. They show it all the time. Hey, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in the Keys, well, that store has all the great cars. What do all those cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars. And then they all come with the Warren Henry Advantage. That's a suite of services, a long list of things you get when you buy your car. It starts off with they give you a free loaner car. If your car has to go in for service, they'll replace your keys. Those are like $100 if you lose them. I got scared. I thought I lost my keys the other day. I found them. They're always in the last place you look, because who keeps looking? Also, I like to park my car close to the curb. I scratch up my rims all the time. They polish them up for me. They make my car look great all the time. They make sure I drive the nicest car all the time. And of course, they'll guarantee you get the best price for your used car. They'll guarantee your best price for the new car. They'll give you 3 days to return your car. Nobody returns their car. They love the car. So join me, my beautiful wife, Vivian, my mom, lots of my friends. Boy, we sell a lot of cars for them. Did you realize that, Mr. Mendoza? We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. I love that part, right? You should be too. Always the best price. Always the best service. Always Warren Henry.
This is Becca Carlson from Carlson Integrated. A lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
One of my business mantras, you got to get Mr. Mendoza's going slow today. Mr. Mendoza needs to get on the stick. There he is. Hey, what I like to do is surround myself with experts. That's why I have Mr. Mendoza produce my podcast, and why the folks at Carlson Integrated do my marketing. They are tremendous, and they generate the great positive energy that I love to use. Mr. Mendoza, congratulations on getting all those new clients for the podcast. I think that's tremendous. Hey, you know what else is tremendous? That's the service I get to the families that I work with. When they call me, it's all about them. You go, what does that really mean? Well, I'll give you an example. Guy called me yesterday. He goes, I need new, I want to get this high level of leverage for my project. I go, dude, this is not the part of the cycle where you get high leverage. Now is the time where you get preferred equity, an equity investor who can add more money. So it's open-ended, so that, God forbid, there's a problem, we can sit there and solve it with some additional equity. Goes, thank you so much for that idea. The guy was only 35. He hadn't seen it before. I've seen it before. It's coming. What's coming? I don't know. It's always different every time, but the Fed is trying to do something to the marketplace. We'll talk to Brad. We'll see what the interest rate change will have on home buying. I guarantee it ain't going to change velocity at all. We'll talk to Brad, and I'll tell him why I think that, and then he'll see whether I'm right or wrong. But family from overseas called me this week. I'm on my third phone call with them. They're asking me to advise them on their entry to the U.S. market. So if you are a family office, if you're a real estate operating company, really it's a closely held real estate business by your family. Maybe you're a person that's trying to get started. I had a guy call me today. He needed a fast close on two condos. I told him he was out of luck. He should just let his deposit go and not put any more bad money after that. That's the theory of sunk cost. Call me. I'll call BS on deals for you. I'll help you get them done. I'll help you structure them creatively. I'll help you position them to survive what comes next. And remember, you can reach me on my cell phone. You can reach me on an email. But remember, whenever you do reach me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
You know, we're updating the marketing. I'm going to be posting more on those channels. Mr. Mendoza and Andres Seni, high five to Andres, gets a shout out. And Rebecca Carlson are all helping me build my social. And then we're going to have a couple of interns this summer that are really help. I'm really looking forward to them. It's going to be great. You'll see the increase and improvement in my content quality and our social media approach that we do. Mr. Mendoza, where's my expert? There he is. He is the expert. That's for sure. He's really, really kind. But Brad, I've been following Brad Hunter Housing Economics. He's been one of the thought leaders in this space for 35, 40 years. I got my start. I had a full head of hair back then when I first met Brad. And Brad has been setting the pace for everybody in this industry for a long time. Welcome back to the show, Brad. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. It took us a long time to coordinate, but I'm glad you're here.
My pleasure, Jim. Good to see you.
So, Brad, what's going on in Florida? You know, I remember back, maybe it was 10 years ago, people told me there'd never be enough lots in the state of Florida. Then I flew over it in a plane and kind of disagreed with them. Here it is again. They say we're not going to ever have enough lots. I have guys that are negotiating a 3,000 acre farm. Can't say where, obviously. Got other guys that are negotiating on 1,000 or 2,000 acre tracts in central and west central Florida. It's absolutely booming. I never thought anybody could live there. And now I think you can build an entire community and people wouldn't care. What's going on?
Well, yeah, there are those deals that are going on. I'm doing some market studies on some of those big 1,000 unit plus deals, 1,000 acre deals as well. But there aren't very many of those. There is a severe lot shortage. It's a shortage of developed lots in pretty much all the Florida markets, and especially here in South Florida, where we're both based. You look at Broward County, that's been built out for a long time. You can still occasionally see those nice little infill reuse deals that are happening.
Oh, you said it though. You said it. Adaptive reuse. Casey Conway's favorite term. Adaptive reuse in the urban counties is all you got left.
That's all you got left. And, you know, anytime somebody calls me and says, hey, we got some land that we're onto in Broward County, I say, that's gold. You know, immediately there's so much demand. Broward County used to do 12,000 housing starts a year, just that county. And now it's, you know, less than 1,000. Dade County, very short on supply, especially north of Homestead. Palm Beach County, very short on supply, and demand is suddenly ramping up in Palm Beach County. It's the big migration that's going on. It's happening around the country too. Look at California. People are moving out of California because it's expensive and it's high taxes. Moving to Utah, Montana, Vegas, Texas, and then of course New York, as you know, is moving
right here
to Florida, and prices have doubled. Home prices have doubled in several different submarkets, and just in the last year, due to that New York influence. So, yes, there is a shortage. Yes, there are some of these big deals being planned, but they're not being brought to market as fast as the demand. The demand is absolutely exploding, again, for those demographic reasons I talked about. Now, again, we can't talk about that without mentioning that mortgage rates are going higher, and that is going to price a lot of people out of home ownership.
But it's relatively higher. Like the 30-year average for the 30-year mortgage average for the last 30 years has been like 8%. So they've been just basically priming the pump with cheap money. Now you're at 5%. If you told me you could get a mortgage at 5% when I graduated college, I'd kiss you.
Yeah, that's right. But what's going to happen is because home prices are still quite high, and I don't expect home prices to come down. I think that we're going to see a slowing of the rate of increase of home prices. It's not going to be 15, 18% rates of home price increase. It's going to be, I think, 8% this year nationwide. And I think it's going to be 4% the year after that, partly because of these higher interest rates that are going to price some people out. It's going to put some downward pressure or, a cap, so to speak, on how fast and how far home prices can rise.
But a question for you, Brad, a question. Because if you price all the people out, that just opens it up for Wall Street. And a lot of these guys that are building the lots that I talk to, they say, hey, we don't care if they don't show up because their rental home division is going to buy this for me. And in fact, only 3 years ago, I would go to an event and I would hear the land guys talking, well, we're going to build 200 units. We'll put 50 of them, we'll build out, for sale, but we're going to do 200 and 150 of them. We're going to build all at once and just rent them. And people go, they start laughing. Yeah. Today, that's the standard model.
It's a new thing. It's the built for rent business didn't really exist prior to 2012. And now it's becoming quite big. According to my estimates, we're hitting around 100,000 starts a year in the country built for rent. And what I mean by that is building an entire subdivision, purpose-built, single-family, townhome, cottages, whatever, across the spectrum of types of product. But they're building a whole community for rent. And when they can put them all on a single plat of land, like they're doing in a lot of cases, call it horizontal multifamily in the market, it's marketed as either cottages or some of my clients.
My friends J&J at Eden are doing that.
So
they have like $1 billion from like JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley to do that. Like $1 billion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Pretty soon you're talking about real money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at, some estimates are as high as, 60, 70 billion dollars nationwide that is earmarked for built for rent. Although I think that a lot of that is JVs and not necessarily all equity. But nonetheless, even if all that money got deployed in the next 3 years, which is probably unlikely, that would only generate about, 200, 300,000 homes. But I think we're going to be hitting 150,000 per year demand for built for rent in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
I think that built to rent is here to stay. I think that the disintermediation of American home ownership has begun to occur. I think that as the prices go higher, it'll be tougher for people to get traditional down payments. I think that as the size of these homes gets to be the point or the people miss their original entry point and try to buy a second round home, not a starter, but whatever, a move-up home. Sorry, I forgot the word. A move-up home. They're going to have a problem getting those deposits together because mom and pop who used to give them the deposits, well, now they're closer to retiring. They won't have the money to give, or maybe they got cleaned out somewhere. So there's a whole new, and then, hey, when I went to school, they taught us that the GI Bill after the war was really what was all about buying the homes. Now that stuff's changing too.
And now
whole
GI
policy has moved.
Now GI financing means generous in-laws. But what's happened is the builders have not built for starter families for the most part. D.R. Horton has.
Because they don't make as much money, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. D.R. Horton started Express Homes. They, I have to give them credit. They did that at the right time. Very smart move. Very few of the other builders really were that forward thinking about starter houses for starter families. And that's where the growth is occurring right now. You take that household formation rate that I was talking about, you have some analysts out there that are on the bearish side saying, oh, population growth is slowing in the country. It is, but you have to look deeper than that and say, what about the different age segments? The age segment 27 to age 31 is growing very, very rapidly and is going to be growing even faster next year than it is this year and faster the year after that. So we're going to see about 5 more years of increased demand for that starter home from a new young family. And they want to be in the suburbs. They want to have a yard. They want to have a place where the kids can play. They want to be able to work from home too, so that all those things militate against living in an apartment and towards living in a single family detached home or townhome. But where can they get that? Well, they can't get it from the home builders by and large. So they can get it from these built for rent communities. And again, you still have the lot shortages, right? So it's hard to build enough of those in South Florida, but they're starting to crop up in St. Lucie County. in Palm Beach County, just to give you the comparison, Palm Beach County is starting, according to Metro study, around 2,800 homes a year. And that's down from about 11,000 a year, which I remember back when I was running the consulting department at Metro study. And that was pre-boom. That was not because of the bubble.
I want to hold it right there because I was in Boca yesterday, and when I got on the turnpike, I saw them disturbing one of the biggest tracks I've ever seen in my life in Boca Raton, and I said, "Here we go." So stick with us. We're going to talk about South Florida with Brad Hunter. He's been tracking it for decades. He knows everything, and I'm going to get it all out of him. Stick with us, Mr. Mendoza. Take it away. That picture's from like 100 years ago. And the funny part is I think I recognize exactly which buildings are still alive and kicking there. If you're still alive and kicking and want to get your car, you need to go to Warren Henry. Warren Henry Automotive. They're tremendous. They've got all the great cars. They're tremendous people. They take care of you like family. I love them. How's that? Is that an endorsement? I don't know if I can get any better than that. They're tremendous. They take care of my mom. She loves it there. There's another great endorsement. So if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in the Keys, they sell all their great nameplates down there. What do all the cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. It's like a page and a half of great stuff you get. You sit there with the F&I guy. He checks it off. We'll replace your keys if you lose them. We'll polish up your rims if you don't. We'll make sure you're getting the best price on your used car. We'll make sure you're getting the best price on your new car. You don't like your car, you can return it for 3 days. Nobody returns their car. They love their cars. Listen, join me. I've been a client of theirs for 30 years. My wife, Vivian, same thing. My mom, oh yeah. All my friends, we all go there. Why? Because Warren Henry treats you like family. So remember, always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
It's time to stop the hate and spread some love. You are beautiful, you're smart, you are awesome, and you never have to change for anybody. You have the voice and you have the power. We are so much stronger when we come together. It's your choice, so choose to be inspired. Choose to be accepting, be strong, be brave, be awesome, be daring, be kind. Choose kindness.
Hey, give me a call. I work with a lot of families, a lot of real estate operating companies. I got one company from overseas that called me this week. We're having our third Zoom call. Hopefully they'll be here next month to start deploying capital. They're asking me to recommend them to mid-sized developers so that they can create ventures and learn the market. That's just one way I'm helping. Actually, in that case, I'd be helping two people, not only the people from out of town, but the people here locally, where I give them a credit enhancement with these out-of-town folks. That's a creative way of looking at everything. You need a creative eye on your deal. You need to solve a problem. You need creative capital. I've got all that. I have a guy who needed $20 million of working capital, wanted to leverage his real estate properties. They've had an incredible run up over the last 5 years. He wanted to pull a little equity off the table with them. No problem. One phone call, got it done. So if you need some creative solutions, call me, DM me, but don't wait. And remember, whenever you do reach out to me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at JimFreed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Brad Hunter is with us. Bring back Mr. Hunter. Where is he?
Hello.
There he is. This is the guy. He's the back when I was in college, we called him the Bomar brain. He's the guy that knows everything about the residential business nationwide, statewide, and certainly in the major metro areas. And I'm going to ask him now to draw me some targets on the map. Brad, where are we seeing the real growth here? And even though the demand is in the urban areas, there's no place to build this. So I guess a lot of this is happening on the outer circles of Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, West Palm, and some new towns are starting to spring up too in the Southwest coast. What are some of the hot markets that people are looking at these days?
Yeah, you got it right. So it's that third ring, so to speak, around the urban core, going further out. And, with the advent of work from home, people are able to say, I work from home certain days of the week. It makes it more tenable to go take a longer commute on the days when you do have to go in. So it is enabling some of these more distant locations, which thankfully come with a lower price tag in terms of the land cost, therefore a lower price tag for the houses. And then you have where there's no rings in Southeast Florida. Of course, we're kind of hemmed in by the Everglades and protected areas. So the growth is jumping to a degree out of Palm Beach County when people can't afford Palm Beach County home prices, which have gotten quite high and are going higher. They're going up to St. Lucie County.
They're skipping Martin County for some reason.
Beg your pardon?
They skip Martin County because it's so hard.
Martin County would be great, except that it's not exactly the most
growth. It's the no growth center of the universe.
Climate, yeah. So let me put some numbers to it. Like I was saying before the break, Palm Beach County starting about 2,800 single family homes a year, detached homes, down from 11,000 a year back in the early 2000s. Vacant developed lot supply, this is from Metro Study, 9.8 months of supply is all that there is in Palm Beach County, 2,260 lots. That's going to go like that. So there's a severe lot shortage.
It's unbelievable when you go out there. And like I said, I was just at Glades and the Turnpike. You got pixelated there for a second, Brad. So we haven't heard the last couple of seconds. And you're still sort of frozen. So when I was out yesterday in Palm Beach County, there you go. You seem to be coming back to me. I was on Glades and I went to the Turnpike, and right when you're going there, boom, 1 billion homes looked like they were going up.
Well, it's not 1 billion, but when anybody can find land in Boca Raton or Delray Beach, again, that's gold.
Delray Beach land. I'll make sure I tell my friends that.
Yeah. So, in St. Lucie County, though, they're developing 2,400 or 2,500 lots a year. That's the entire supply.
But they commute to Palm Beach, right? The jobs for them are in Palm Beach, right?
Yeah, but St. Lucie is developing its own job-based.
Brad, maybe you should try calling in again. Brad, we're having a lot of problems with your connection. He's totally frozen. There you go. So what Brad was saying is that St. Lucie County is now generating its own jobs and its own economy. I like to call that the theory of the 15 or 20-minute city, where people can live, work, and play in the same area. For years, St. Lucie County really didn't have any of that, but now it does. And a lot of it is regional distribution, I got to believe. But I've talked to a lot of people that are doing schools and other facilities up there. It's really, really becoming an incredible place to live. Mr. Mendoza, there he is. Brad, you totally froze on us.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
That's okay. I picked up the ball for you. We were talking about St. Lucie County generating its own jobs, and I started talking about the theory of the 15 or 20-minute city where everything's vertically integrated and get there. He's still frozen. Okay, so we'll get Brad technology fixed there. But the reality is that everybody wants to live in one of these live, work, play environments. Now, whenever I'm talking to people and we're trying to sell land to them, we are talking also about the ability to dedicate certain parcels of the land for school infrastructure or roads so that we get good acceptance at the governmental level. Because with all of these plans, and one of the things that we haven't talked about is the government impact. Oh, we'll talk about that. Because the government is really what drives this. They decide what's going to get built, where it's going to get built, when it's, oh, please, hopefully, God willing. So I was talking about how no matter how much we're talking, that really it's all shaped by government. A lot of these big land tracts contribute parcels for schools, parcels for roads, parcels for hospitals. They ask the government what they need and they give it to them, fire stations. And that's the way that they can help move the boundaries out. Here in Miami, we can't anymore because it's legislated, although they keep trying. So, Brad, I was talking a little bit about the theory of the 15-minute city in the urban environments. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, in St. Lucie County now, there are hospitals that employ a lot of people. There are industrial parks that are growing. There's a tremendous amount of activity there. These big master plan communities are becoming kind of a magnet, or, think of it in terms of like gravity. They're attracting more and more critical mass to the area in terms of jobs, employers. And St. Lucie County has done a fantastic job of promoting business growth. And, again, the county is, I don't know if you caught this or if I got cut off before, but 2,400, 2,500 lots a year being developed and prepared for home construction in St. Lucie County, compared to, only having 2,260 lots left in Palm Beach County. So there's tremendous opportunity for growth. Some of the other markets around the country, we're doing studies in the Panhandle, Jacksonville area, Central Florida, that whole area between Tampa and Orlando is showing a lot of interest, a lot of growth. So, all these forces are in place because the demand is so strong.
Now, I wanted to ask a little bit about urban Miami. Okay, this is where my feasibility hat comes back. Sorry. So I talk to people that are involved in shaping the growth of our state all the time. And they ask me, what's really the solution for the affordable housing problem? And I say it's a matrix. There is no real solution. One of the things that I really like is that as they're doing these transit stations, that they should be upzoning them a lot more than they are right now. Like, for instance, out of my house, the landscape is dominated by this deal that it used to be 3-story deals, then 8-story deals. This thing looks like 1 billion stories. It's right on the transit station. And I got to say, if they're going to upzone them, they should upzone them, and they should be for not mixed use, but mixed rate, so that everybody can live there. And so we can have a vibrant community that's multidimensional.
Yep. No, in the planning world, it's called TOD, transit-oriented design. I've done studies on developments that are TOD, and I'm a big fan. I think it makes a tremendous amount of sense when you can just, commute to different parts of the market on a train. And, we've really developed that infrastructure in the past. It's really
it's blowing up Fort Lauderdale. Just wait till it really lands in a couple of months in Aventurture. Yes, I called it Aventurture. And, you saw what the Kushers did in downtown Fort Lauderdale. I have a lot of people that I know invested around there. Everybody owes me $1 because I did that Publix down there. Brad, can you stick with us for one more segment? Because I'd like you to kind of put a bow on this and wrap it all up for everybody. Can you hang out one more segment?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Mendoza, rock the world. I'm wondering, was that Lincoln Road? Mr. Mendoza, you have to test me on those and then have the answers, because I think you know. You know who else has the answers? My friends at Warren Henry. They sure do. I want to thank everybody over there. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Abe, thank you, of course, Larry and the rest of the team over there. Thank you, Telstar, for keeping my car running. In fact, my lights went on for the periodic service. I'm going to be calling May today or tomorrow to set up my appointments. They take care of me so great. If they need to, they'll come pick up my car. I usually bring it up there because I love the free coffee and I love to see all my friends. They got a great waiting area up there. If you don't want to wait, they'll give you a free loaner. I get my rims polished up over there because I'm a close parker. I've lost my keys once. They replaced them. It saved me like $100. They've got tremendous value that you get when you buy there. They make sure you get a great price on your used car. They make sure you get a great price on your new car. They give you 72 hours to return your car if you don't like it. Nobody returns their car because they all love them. So join lots and lots of my friends, my beautiful wife, Vivian, my mom, of course, me, 30-something years, and a lot of my friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
This is Becca Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
Folks at Carlson Integrated are tremendous. You know, I surround myself with experts and then I listen to their opinion. That's Carlson Integrated, and that's Regan Mendoza. I always get his name wrong unless I kind of do that. Call me. I'm having a whole bunch of people call me. Today, I'm helping one of my friends recap some of his deals. We're pulling a lot of his equity out. We're getting him a working capital loan. He has a lot of equity that he's created in a whole bunch of these deals, and we're pulling it out for him. That's one guy I'm helping. I have another family from overseas. They just reached out to me. They want to enter the South Florida market. They said, Jim, can you pair us up with the right service providers and the right joint venture partners? I said, sure, no problem. They found me by looking at my LinkedIn profile. That's right. Got a deal last year from New Zealand, pretty much the same way. In fact, it was one of these raw lock deals. That's where I learned all about this part of the business. So call me. My telephone can solve your problem usually in 1 or 2 phone calls. Match you up with the right people, good energy, bring wonderful energy to your transaction. Work with a lot of young people, 2nd generation, 3rd generation. So call me. And remember, whenever you reach out to me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
I want to thank my old friend, Brad Hunter. Mr. Mendoza, please bring back Mr. Hunter. There he is. I want to thank my old friend, Brad Hunter. I'm going to tell it to you this time. He was sort of like my mentor. He was like the Michael Jordan of market studies when I was coming up. So it's really a pleasure for me to have him on the show. I really trust his judgment. The reason I do is because he researches everything thoroughly. I've literally seen him and his team in the car counting the starts in a subdivision to make sure they were getting the numbers right. Welcome back, Mr. Hunter. And I wanted to just start by saying that we began the conversation by saying the number one issue is the constraint in lots. I'd like you to kind of bring it all together and talk about where the opportunity is today for the home builder and where the challenge is for the home buyer. But I'm hoping that there's a little light at the end of the tunnel for everybody.
Yeah, the demand is going to be strong even as mortgage rates go higher. in Florida especially. There's such a migration that's happening into the state, and a lot of wealth being brought in from outside. So don't worry about the demand side too much, but obviously be aware of how you position your product. You were asking about what government can do as well, and density, I think, is the key there. So the government needs to allow greater density to address the housing shortage on the financial feasibility, level. You're going to be able to allow more projects to happen and combat the affordability problem. I've been doing studies over the past couple of years in downtowns like West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale and Miami and Miami Beach, and big master plan community studies in the Treasure Coast and north of there, and golf course reuse studies and built for rent studies. And I think that the biggest growth area, it's happening in my business, doing our market studies, is the built for rent. And I guess we're kind of a leading indicator because we're getting so many requests. I'd say 80% of the study work we're doing now is built for rent single family, whether it's built for rent townhomes, built for rent communities of single family homes, because that is what the market needs. These young families need a place where they can have a single family home with a yard, nobody living above them, place to walk the dog easily. And so there's just a whole kind of tremendous amount of momentum behind that. And I just see that continuing for the next 5, 6, 7 years at least.
I see it continuing forever. That you just described the American dream. Now, unfortunately, I live in urban Miami. I just moved out of Edgewater. Edgewater has seen an incredible redevelopment. Yeah. And I've got to say, I've done a bunch of business in downtown, in Brickell. Brickell's just Manhattan. Brickell's Manhattan. And guess what? Edgewater's on the way. And Edgewater will have a couple of different types of development. They'll have, east of Northeast 2nd, and then they'll have Wynwood in the design district and Wynwood Norte. And they've really done a pretty good job so far. But Brad, I talked about it earlier, the theory of the 15-minute city. I used to go from Edgewater to Coconut Grove, 12 minutes. Now it's only 18 to 20, but boy, those extra 8 minutes are brutal. And I don't like to do them during rush hour. Now, I live in Coconut Grove. We moved here. I can walk to Fresh Market. Soon they'll be opening up a CVS I can walk to. I can ride my bike to the neighborhood bar and restaurant. I live across from Starbucks. In other words, I live in heaven.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I live in a walkable neighborhood myself. And, that is the.
Yeah, but I was up, like I said, yesterday in Boca West, St. Andrews. Those are not walkable communities. Right. Those are different. Different. So I think that really a lot of the people that live in those houses are going to want to sell them and live in these walkable cities. And that's what you're seeing here in Coconut Grove. That was really my point. Well, my point was that they're starting to come back to the culture.
No, all of those things are true. And we've done a couple of market studies in Wynwood in the last 12 months. So we see that.
You're welcome.
That urban trend is for real. And there are people that, single people, it's perfect for people that don't have kids. People that have kids say, I got to be in the suburbs. People that don't have kids, they're oftentimes happier in the cities. But I tell you, even though the millennials in their surveys 10 years ago said, no, I would never live in the suburbs. I only want to live in the city. Only, I think at the peak, 15% of them lived in a city environment. But anyway, now they're all looking for the suburbs. Not all.
So I wish you would come with me to my desk at Zach the Baker one day. I'd love to show you this observation that other people have made. You've got some of the buildings in Wynwood, they don't even have a balcony. Of course, the deal I did with Lennar, they have balconies. Mm-hmm. So, I think a lot of it is going to switch and be short-term rental. And not everybody's going to live in Wynwood because Wynwood is South Beach.
Yeah. Yeah. And balconies, by the way, that's an important topic because ever since COVID, everybody wants a balcony. Product
massive balcony.
Balconies is not happening. It's not.
I love it. I love a balcony. Well, it could be an extra room. Doesn't have to be big. Just has to be on the other side of the glass so that you can close the door and be outside and be on your own. Brad, we only have a couple of minutes left. I'd like you kind of recap your really important points. Where's the demand? Who's the demand? What's interest rates going to have to do with it? And, your vision of the future.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this great migration that's happening is driving so many people to Florida from New York. And by the way, that's not a COVID thing either. This is a long-term trend. This was happening because of taxes, SALT, all of that, driving the people here because of the cost differential. In New York, people come and say, everything looks like it's on sale. And the flow is just getting started, and it's already driving values up. It's going to continue to drive demand. It is going to make it harder for starter families. I think, again, that the best option for the starter families is the built for rent communities. So, I mean, look for my forecast to be, a dramatic slowdown in the pace of price increase, but no declines per se, maybe here and there in certain houses in certain neighborhoods. But by and large, I think that home prices are going to keep on going up, and demand is going to remain strong. So it all comes down to lot supply. That's the biggest challenge that all the builders and developers have.
Brad Hunter, we ended up where we started off, but that's because we encircled the entire residential development market. I want to thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for all the guidance and education and kindness that you've given me over the years, being literally the Michael Jordan of residential studies here in Florida. I want to thank you so much for the access and being here on the show today.
I appreciate that. That's very flattering, and I appreciate it and enjoy the chance to chat with you today.
Okay. Well, listen, we'll have you back maybe on a few months after we've gone through the interest rate hike to see what the status is. Maybe we'll bring you on with one of the home builders and watch point counterpoint. That would be, I know exactly who I'd love to get you on with. I just thought of it. And so Brad Hunter Housing Economics, the Michael Jordan of market studies for residential. I want to thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much, Brad Hunter. I want to thank everybody for listening today. I want to thank you, our listeners. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. I want to thank our sponsors, Warren Henry Automotive, the University of Florida Center for Real Estate Studies, Bergstrom Center. Always a great place to get an education, always smart people coming out of there. I mentor a lot of those people. They're all across our business. And remember, we'll be back next week at noon live, and we're always available on freedombusiness.com. Oh, yeah, you know our saying, the person that wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now you go out there and make it happen. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Mr. Mendoza, take it away.